Hey guys, so welcome back to Indirect Knowledge. I'm Chandra, your guy here. And today we've got a special tarot card reading, and this one is for, we're just going to go with the first initial M. And we've read some readings for M before in the past. And this one's a little bit different. This one is about reconciliation. And M would like to know, will we reconcile? So that's the question. So let's find out what the answer is. So we'll probably do a 7-card reading just to get some more information on this, since it's a little bit just kind of a very specific type of question. We could do a yes or no, but with the maybe it can give us some more advice or some more helpful information if we go a little bit more wider with the reading. I hope everyone is having a great weekend. It's been an interesting year so far. We're in a 7-year. I've mentioned this to some of you, and even on the last reading that I did, some days back for someone else, we kind of talked about the nature of the 7-year, how it's more of kind of this introverted kind of year where we're doing some assessment, thinking, introspection, prayer, meditation, all these kind of things that really help us out, help us to get to that 8-year that's moving forward. And if you look at kind of the numerology, if we we've all heard maybe the phrase 6s and 7s. We're kind of at 6s and 7s with ourselves. It means we're a little bit confused. Like one part of us wants to do this, another part wants to do that. We just don't really know. We're kind of like in flux. And then so 6, can be very practical. The 7, of course, can be kind of the spiritual, more the introspective kind of thing. So there's that. And then once you get to the 7 to the 8, it's kind of the same situation. 7 is kind of that introspective, going kind of within, trying to find some answers. It's not about necessarily taking massive action per se. And then, of course, the 8, of course, is about money and finance and setting up systems or structures in order to be successful and to drive things kind of more in that direction. So yeah, let's get on with the reading a little bit. So this is about reconciliation. So what I like to do is, I've been shuffling the cards so far while I've been doing this. Now I want to kind of focus in on just the actual question, the energy that's surrounding it, and just kind of really give the focus over to that. And then we'll read the cards and see what things are. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so let's just look a little bit toward the recent past to kind of figure out what's been going on. Obviously, there's a reason this question's coming up. And so we can look at the first card that we have is our Page of Wands. Pages are usually indicated in the aristocracy as being student age, kind of younger, inquisitive. They're messengers, they bring messages, like when it comes to the tarot. And the Page of Wands is like, and when we have the Wands kind of energy, that's really this things coming at us kind of quickly. So it's sort of a message of maybe a message of like new things coming, like new growth. We see like some, could be a new relationship, or it could be like some new things coming into being. So if things have been set up in a certain way for a period of time, uh, introducing something new into that equation can be disruptive, or it can be helpful. It can go either way. So keeping a balance when you introduce new things into your life is quite important. And that just kind of is good advice in general for all of us. So now we get to the present moment, and the present moment, and this is where the question really starts to take shape and light, and we see a little bit more with it. We have the five of Pentacles. Now, Pentacles usually about money and things on that end, but just like with everything in life, there's the ebbs and flows. Sometimes we're up, sometimes we're down, sometimes markets rise, sometimes they fall flat and sink. And in this particular case, this is kind of that sinking situation. The five usually is about change and that introduction of new things coming. We talked about that a little bit with the message of new growth and everything coming up here from the page. And in this case, it brings us right to the current moment, which is this Five of Pentacles, which is kind of being kind of out in the cold, destitute, not getting things exactly the way that we want them, having some doubts, some fears start to crop up a little bit. The mind starts to mess with us a little bit. And that's not uncommon in a 7-year either. So we see this kind of as falling into play with the current type of year that we're in. The interesting thing about this card, the thing I always tell people to kind of keep in mind when we have the Five of Pentacles, is that even though we may find ourselves a little outside our comfort zone, or things may not be going so well for us, or we may be having some problems or some issues that maybe need addressing. The thing is if we go back in time to other situations in our life where we've been kind of on top, we talked about markets going up and markets coming down, but go back to times where you were up, like where everything was really good for you. And if you get to that, if you can remember back to that, think about all the things that you did to get there. Like, what were your actions? What was your thinking? What was your mindset? What was your frame of reference, basically? If you can think about that, then this card here, you can really start to take this card and then get back on track again. It's a way of like, just if you remember how you got successful in the first place, because this card usually comes as a result of already having had some success with a situation. It could be relationship, it could be finances, it could be, a slew of other things. But once this success comes, it's easy to get back to that success if we just go back and look at times where we've been successful. It's kind of like, I use the riding a bike analogy. You might not have you might have learned to ride a bike, and it may have taken some bloody knees or some scratches to finally learn how to ride the bike. But once you've actually learned how to ride the bike, it's kind of like muscle memory. You just kind of naturally get on the bike and ride it, and you don't even think about it. If you've gone a period of time, maybe years, even 7, 8, 10, 20 years without riding a bicycle, you still have that experience of having done it in the past. So you can go back and probably get on a bike. And even though you may be a little wobbly at first, in a short period of time, you should be able to get back to that level of proficiency that you were at once before. And that's what this card kind of reminds me of. It tells us that, okay, we may be a little wobbly right now. Life might be throwing us some wobbles, but all we got to do is kind of think back, okay, a little practice, let things ride themselves out a little bit. And as that happens, you'll start to see that, things start to improve for you, and that success returns itself. And then oftentimes when it returns itself, it's even better than ever. I mean, it's like, a lot better situation. So let's look at the near future. We're talking, maybe 3 or 4 weeks out to even a couple of months out. But we have the King of Wands here. Okay. And this is a good card in this position because we're talking about reconciliation. So the king is, as far as the aristocracy goes, the king is really the decision maker, the one that calls the shots. And in this case, this is where your situation is whatever you desire, wherever you want things to be at. It's really within your power, within your control, in order to make those things happen. So if you desire for that reconciliation to happen, it will happen. And that's what this king really reassures us of. it's a great card, like in this position, just because it gives us that finality, that definite, yes, this will happen, so long as it is your desire for it to happen. If it's not your desire, then that could be the case too. It could also be equally the case as well. So we have our answer. So we know that that's the answer. We see kind of the story of what got us here. We can go back in the past and say, okay, we had this introduction of some new things kind of happening, kind of creeping in, that brought us to this current situation of like, things aren't exactly the way we want them to be. And then in the future, our King of Wands tells us that, we're going to get back to that happy place, that happy medium again. So it's kind of like your classic, bell curve, things were good, there was something that happened, and then things get back on track again. So that's kind of the situation here with this reconciliation business. So let's look a little bit about this, where we're at right now, this Five of Pentacles. We talked about this card a little bit, but let's look about it in relationship to this particular circumstance. And the way that we can do that is looking at the next card here. We have the Two of Pentacles. So another Pentacles card, this time it's a two. Two is about duality. It's about choice. It's about weighing options. And that's what this is really all about. So right now, with where you're at with things may not be exactly where you want them. But, and especially since we're in the 7-year, you're getting this balance kind of mindset going on. You see the ebb and flow in the background where the ships are up and down and so on and so forth. We see a little bit of, imagery with that. But this is really about weighing your options and deciding what it is that you really want. So I would say kind of embrace that. And once you kind of get that finality and stuff like that, you will get what you want. Where is your mindset with all of this? Well, there's an interesting thing with this card that comes up. This is kind of the querent card in this particular type of spread. And this is the Hierophant. And the Hierophant is all about a reminder of like traditional values and things. It's a person that's in control, a very decent person, but it's also about like kind of sticking to our roots. It's that religion, culture, values, all of these kind of things, our background, all those things that have kind of shaped us in terms of our psychology, our personal psychology, where we fit into society, these types of things. This card is also one of those that reminds us that, I always give people kind of this other analogy that say you were like, kidnapped or something, God forbid, and then taken off into some foreign land that you've never been around anyone before. What characteristic things that you have in common are the things that you're going to find commonality in with those people in this new location. And by assimilating yourself with those people that have similar values, similar past, similar culture, that kind of thing, you'll build friendships and relationships and a community with those people and stuff, and you'll gain resources, and those resources will help you tremendously. That's this kind of card. That's kind of what this is about. Like, you have to kind of look at things from like where you've been, what shaped you, how you get there. And that's kind of where the mindset is. That's kind of the attitude card with all of this. You're looking for like nostalgia type situations. You're looking for things, you're recreating something that's been there, that you have, that has meaning to you, that feels right to you. And things that don't feel right, they are off put, like there are things that we kind of have pushback about. And that's the case with this reconciliation business. We really want to associate and connect ourselves with people that are know, like, and trust us, and that we know, like, and trust as well. And that's kind of the building block, the foundation of like relationships in so many different ways, So that would be the right mindset, I would say, in this. And now that you kind of have kind of this overview of where you're at mentally with it, you can kind of use this idea of saying, okay, sometimes things get introduced into our life that are a little bit different, outside of our comfort zone, outside of the norm for us, maybe culturally different than our situation. And whenever we see those kind of things, we see things like prejudice or disagreement or conflict, all these kind of things start to kind of, you know, affect us, and play a role or influence our situation in some way. It doesn't mean, however, that these new things that get introduced to us are necessarily bad or evil or irreligious or to be avoided. It just may be that sometimes we need to keep an open mind, kind of look at things a little bit more objectively, weigh things out, see how they might assimilate into our life instead of be tossed out of our life. So there's some things to maybe consider or think about a little bit. Now, the next card that we have is this is the answer. This is kind of like if you need the advice, if you need the cards or something to kind of give you this advice, or to kind of like, maybe you just can't get like a clear direction on things. This card that's coming up here now, this is kind of that card that gives you a little bit of like a kind of a boost, kind of like a nudge in a certain direction. And that's what this is about. Again, a 7. This is a Chariot card. And it's a 7. It's a major arcana card. So it's a major life card in the tarot. The Chariot is a reminder for us that, things aren't always black and white. Sometimes there's that middle ground. And sometimes being strong is not just a physical strength, it's also a mental strength. But whenever I see this card, I'm always reminded of the classic account of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna and Arjuna are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and Krishna is giving advice to Arjuna. Arjuna is looking at Krishna as a spiritual master, someone that has competency and can give advice, spiritual advice and directive in terms of what course of action to take. And it's that relationship that you see between them, whereas on one level it was friendship, them getting together as friends, and then the next level it's kind of this kind of mentor-mentee kind of relationship where one is giving kind of this very direct and to the point advice to the other that's a little bit confused on things. So this kind of card, when this card comes up, it's about looking at things like sometimes you need to take the advice of someone that has maybe been there, done that. So with this Chariot card, sometimes that's a case. And I think maybe that's where we're kind of at with this reading here, as far as this reconciliation goes. Sometimes you need someone that is maybe not so directly involved, but maybe on the outskirts involved on some level, but that is wise, and someone that has a lot of understanding, that's not emotionally connected to it, and someone that can actually give you advice and make you feel better about the situation. And if that's the case, it could be that that's really where the answer is here, that you need to just kind of maybe talk to someone or get with someone that you're comfortable with, that kind of fits into that same culture, that same kind of understanding, traditions of where you're at, that can give you some really good practical advice about this situation that you're dealing with. And and hopefully this reading and everything is kind of that also for you. I hope so. Anyway, this is my hope. But that's the Chariot card there. And just remember, like, you have time. You don't have to rush things. That's kind of the thing with this Chariot. Things will materialize and take care of themselves. And so what is the outcome? Well, it's really good. It's an outcome card is actually, this is sort of our charity card, but this is like, not that one is resentful of another or anything like that. It's actually that there's a good relationship here. So the outcome is that things will take care of themselves. You will be happy. The person that you're desiring reconciliation with, they will be happy. And on all accounts, everything will be balanced and equal, and everything will be feeling pretty good for you. So anyways, hope this helps a little bit. Overall, it's a really good reading. So we got right off the bat pretty quickly that you will get what you want. But now we kind of see some context or some scope around the situation and everything. So never hurts to kind of have that perspective. And then that can kind of give you some clue into maybe what the next step is, you know. And this last card here, this final card, is a really good card in this particular spread because it's telling you that with reconciliation, sometimes one person suffers while another person, you know, has a little bit better. But with this card coming up in the spread and all, it's actually saying that, you know, reconciliation will benefit both of you. It will benefit you. It will benefit the person that you're trying to reconcile with. And at the end of the day, no matter where you're at or where they're at, it will be beneficially happy situation for everyone. And everything will be nicely balanced. And we see that also with this 2 card here with this kind of being out in the dark. But anyways, I can go on and on. But I think we pretty much get the gist of this reading. So if you have any questions or anything, of course, reach out to me. I'm always here for you, of course. Much love and many blessings. And that goes for all of you guys. And guys, thanks so much for tuning into the channel. Got a few tarot card readings I'm trying to catch up on a little bit. And just, you know, with this 7 year, it's sometimes that introverted spirit that comes about. So it's more, think of things maybe more in terms of quality, like you're building up a good quality, a good foundation, a good base this year. So that, you know, as we approach like October, November, and then moving forward into the new year, we're going to start to see some really positive things start to happen, you know. Things will start to really connect and make a lot more sense for us. And we'll feel more grounded and we're going to be busier. So I always tell people, like in this particular year, try to embrace it in the sense of like a retreat. Like if you were going to go to like a yoga retreat or something like that, or going to take a little bit of time for yourself, you know, and do some extra meditation or, take the time to do some praying and really some introspecting, you know, like just, you know, look at your thoughts, see what it is that's really important to you and try to make some assessment on that. And then you'll start to see that as things move on into the next year and things get really busy, this foundation, this retreat will be really appreciated. And you'll thank your lucky stars that you actually took the time to do it, because by doing it, you know, you won't regret it later on. You know, in the moment that we're here right now and we're going through everything and things are a little bit slow and it seems like we're not really getting a lot of traction like in our life, just remember that that traction is going to come, and it's going to come sooner than you think. So when it does start to come and you get really, really busy and you need that break, you'll be glad that this year was that break. So hope this kind of helps. If you guys have any questions or anything, of course, reach out to me. There's links in the description below this video and stuff like that if you want to help support the channel, support the work, the mission that we do here as monks. Feel welcome to do that. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode of Indirect Knowledge. See you guys soon.